longer I lived, the more convincing proof I saw of this truth, that God governs in the affairs of men. And if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that a country could rise without his aid? And that brings me to one other secret: America. Yes, America. You see, Freemasonry came of age during the Enlightenment. It may seem hard to imagine now, but the great gift of that time was the radical idea that man's liberties and rights come from God, not kings, and that ordinary men could govern themselves. In America, Freemasonry took that idea one step further. Your founding fathers, the same Freemasons that laid the cornerstone of our nation's capital, and indeed its very foundation, that a man's life was not cast, but through merit, education, ability, he could rise to greatness. And that's why I believe America was, and still is, a truly Masonic idea, a Masonic experiment, that men could govern themselves, that a country could depend on the goodness of its people, on their willingness to give back and to help others. But frankly, today I'm worried. I'm worried about our mission. Men in high places have abandoned values that are the very foundation and stability of America. Today, greed, selfish interest, and barefaced corruption seem all the fashion. America needs great men of tolerance who can give honest debate to the great issues of the day. I'm seeing mostly squabbling, men squandering their time, being wolves to one another. Yet, I'm not without hope. We still have Freemasonry. Yes, the same Freemasons that helped create this country have always provided great men when needed. And today, in every city and town in America, Freemasonry is still providing that special place where young men can find their greatness and accomplished men can give something back. Yes, in this time of great hope, it is my hope that America will see that Freemasonry is a national treasure that cannot be separated from our country's future. As Freemasons, we stand today with our brothers, our country's founders, in support of America, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, pledging again to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. May this American experiment continue with God's blessing. I too was young once. Oh, how swiftly time flies. And yes, time was that great opportunities came to me. But first I needed to prepare for the greatness in life that awaited me. I realized I must make resolutions. I needed the help of trustworthy friendships and enlightened fellowship. I was 25 years old. And like you, I asked, and I became a Freemason. And like you, my brothers, I wakened to that most precious of resources, time. Time, like the sands of this hourglass, will quickly pass, and lost time is never found again. I learned as a Mason to be up and to be doing to the purpose, because greatness, like truth, waits patiently for you, but you only have so much time. You know, Freemasonry believes man's greatness can be measured by his time well spent. But the signs of your greatness will not be in wealth and fame, but in your capacity to give back to your community. Scriptures assure me that on the last day, we shall not be examined for what we thought, but for what good we did for our fellow creatures. So, how to start? So much to learn, so much to do, so little time. I suggest you start by putting your own life in order and use the rituals and symbols of Freemasonry to cultivate your emotions. Becoming a Mason is a habit, so resolve to do one thing good every day. In the morning, write what good will I do today? In the evening, answer, what good did I do today? I decided on 12 virtues that I thought would help me become a better Mason and henceforth a better man. Some, like temperance and silence, I thought would help facilitate the others, while those like order, patience, tolerance, and moderation would help me to better learn the lessons of Freemasonry. I was told later I needed to add one more: humility, a virtue I'll admit always gave me a bit of trouble. Now, there are many virtues, Masonic or otherwise, but every Mason should decide which virtues he'll defend as a Freemason. Those virtues that can help him create a better world, a better family, a better man. I suggest picking one virtue at a time and working on it until it becomes a habit. A different virtue each week. And when you're done, repeat. Memory is like a ladder, one step at a time. And as those who try to learn our ritual soon discover, repetition is the mother of learning. And time always is quickly passing. Indeed, my time has passed. But your time is. So be ashamed to catch yourself idle when there's so much to be done. Live with purpose, for time is to prepare for greatness. You may ask, what is Freemasonry? Now, you can listen to me or not, but I believe it's simple. Freemasonry is the very measure of a man. Look in every city and town in America, and you'll see, right out in the open, a building adorned with the square and compasses. Think for a moment. Freemasonry uses the oldest tools of antiquity, those tools of measurement used by the stonemasons, like the square and the compasses, to demonstrate and pass on the great truths and wisdom of the ages. We use tools of measurement because Freemasonry believes a man's greatness can be measured, not by his wealth or fame, but by his deeds, his character, his truth, his tolerance, his charity, his trust, his friendship, his love for his fellow creatures. It's been said that human happiness comes from the smallest of improvements. So he that can effect positive change, even by a simple kindness, adds wealth to the common stock of humanity. Freemasonry therefore believes greatness can be seen in a man's positive effect in the world, and that to do good is the best way to glorify God. Where the roots of Freemasonry began, no one can say for certain. They're hidden in antiquity, and perhaps that is best, at least for me. I became a Freemason in the Age of Enlightenment, a time much like you now live, a time of great light, where science had changed the way we live. I only wish that the moral sciences could do the same, because it seems to me that the great religions of the world all provide a moral compass to their faithful. And while each man must wrestle in private with his personal relationship with God, Freemasonry offers an ecumenical brotherhood, a fraternity composed of men of all religions, founded on the practice of the great moral and social virtues. And that's why you see on our symbol the letter G. It is there to remind us that God is part of each of our lives, and that the all-seeing eye of God will take the true measurement of our action. Freemasonry has three great lights by which we measure ourselves as men and Masons: the square, the compasses, and the volume of sacred law we place them upon. That sacred book, one revered by the individual Mason, is where we take our oaths, lay the foundation of our lives. The square, providing direction, helps us to square our actions by the square of virtue, because virtue is the stone used to build the man and his temple. Virtue is the cement that binds our relationships, and it is by our virtues that we are measured. The compasses are the tools of our conscience. We learn by the compasses to circumscribe our desires and keep our passions within due bounds with all mankind. The compasses create a circle the precise circumference required to keep tradition and revelation, principle and creativity in balance. Now, as to the great secret of Freemasonry, it is actually found in the unconscious of each person. It is discovered by each individual for himself, Mason or not, as he comes to know himself and finds the road that takes him to his city. Because the real secret of Freemasonry is finding out who you are. The Mason square doth clear the air of folly and deception. The rule is straight, the angle clear, for greatness has direction. By the compasses abide the points within so far and wide. No pleasure sway nor profit tempt these bounds of Mason pride. Greatness, what your virtues are, good deeds practiced wide and far. And that secret of Masonic love is learning who you really are. For the great book knows what man can't hide, a life that's measured from inside. And on that book, that oath we took, and we will break it never, but stand by this, and this, and this, forever and forever.